rest assured, criminals in Ontario, California, if you even so much as consider a criminal act, they are prepared to call in the CSI team at any cost to you. Welcome back to Food News Wednesdays, where we round up this week's tastiest stories. My name is Chris, and I plan to live for a long time. See, if you love McDonald's, you too may have actually stumbled upon the secret to eternal life. At least if you believe the word of Dorothy Nedd of Philadelphia. Dorothy is a 106-year-old great-grandmother of 9 and credits her long life to two things: Jesus and the Big Mac. Although it's unclear if it's necessarily in that order. One of Dorothy's grandchildren flashbacks stating, "Grandma always used to take me to church, and then after church we would sometimes go to McDonald's and my grandma got a Big Mac." She was getting Big Macs for a long time. Now, to be clear, the Big Mac was only invented in 1967 in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. So while it's entirely possible Dorothy, a Pennsylvania native, was amongst the very first customers to sample the burger some 55 years ago, she would have been 51 years old at the time. Which begs the question, does the Big Mac come with an expiration date, and is the real mistake that we're making indulging before we've become senior citizens? Well, nobody bothered asking that question to Dorothy because this story was drummed up by a bunch of seriously shoddy reporting. But Dorothy does give us one final piece of advice. Sweet living. I don't think that's advice. Maybe Dorothy's just been, hitting the Mac sauce. Meanwhile, if I can offer you all a piece of advice, it's this. Don't ever not get caught stealing protein bars. Now, does that advice confuse you? It should, but somehow that same advice has turned into a 3-year legal mess in Ontario, California. See, in 2018, police record specialist Gricelda Perez was accused of stealing a $2.99 RX bar from a convenience store, and the officials immediately set out to fire her. Through a super grainy surveillance video, it showed Perez definitely picking up the bar and then either putting it back on the shelf or pocketing it. She then proceeded to pay for a coffee and some string cheese and then left the store. Now, Perez has made it clear. She says all she did was read the nutritional information off the back of the bar and put it back on the shelf. However, it didn't stop an internal affairs investigation, which included, and I swear to God I'm not making this up, a search of her car. They turned up the wrapper from the string cheese as well as the receipt, but no evidence of the protein bar. Despite this overwhelming lack of evidence, again, I'm going to remind you, about a $2.99 protein bar, they fired her. Now, Perez appealed her termination and got what was called a last-ditch hearing, where the video was played time and again. The city's video expert determined it was inconclusive if she had taken the bar, and yeah, they called in a video expert because rest assured, criminals in Ontario, California, if you even so much as consider a criminal act, they are prepared to call in the CSI team at any cost to you. Seriously, what are the taxes in Ontario, 100%? Anyway, now armed with absolutely no proof whatsoever and experts clearly citing that this is ridiculous, City Council voted 4-1 to fire her. Oh boy. Perez didn't stop though, and now a San Bernardino County Superior Court judge took a look at the case and basically reacted like the first normal human being and ordered the city to take her back with back pay. Incredibly, and I can tell you I would not have the guts to do this, but Perez is actually going to return to the job. And the reason? She has 3 kids under the age of 9 and she wants them to be proud of the fact that she stood up to the city and won. And you know what? I hope to God the judge threw in a coffee and a string cheese for her trouble too, because Lord knows she's earned it. Thankfully, the police are a little bit more competent down in Harris County, Texas. Instead of shaking down young mothers over protein bars, these officers are shaking down barbecue pits? Now, when I saw the headline to this story, I was initially prepared to travel to Harris County to defend my barbecue brethren, but then I read a few more details. See, Jay Rojas was holding a barbecue. His pit was lit, meat was on the grill, good honest stuff. The problem is that this was taking place in the backseat of his car while he was driving. and his car was also on fire when they pulled him over. Also, he was intoxicated and in possession of coke, but that sort of feels like a given since his car was on fire with a brisket in the back seat. Rojas can expect to be wrapped in foil and removed from jail at an internal temperature of 203 degrees. And finally this week, if you've ever wondered about the history of the burrito, well, wonder no longer. North Korea has claimed that the inventor was Jong Il, the former dictator of the country who passed away in 2011. The news story being passed around the country this week features images of the former leader devouring burritos. There's some skepticism with this tightly controlled country, some noting that the country is often short of food, and Western ingredients are exceptionally hard to come by. Now, of course, this isn't the first food that Jong Il was reported to have invented, having previously come up with a sandwich called the double bread with meat, or what's now commonly known to you as the hamburger. Hey, you never know. I realize that hamburgers and burritos were both around long before he was born, but I'll further note that in 2015, North Korea did claim that Japan stole time from them. The current dictator, Kim Jong-un, made it clear that they wouldn't stand for it, so they set their clocks back by 30 minutes to stick it to them. So knowing that there's time theft going around and about, suggesting that Jong Il was alive hundreds of years ago suddenly doesn't seem quite so crazy anymore, now does it? Also, he once climbed an active volcano, invented a drug to cure Ebola, and never ever pooped. And you know, I'm actually prepared to believe that last point because the man is completely full of shit. Guys, it's the real world being funnier than fiction that will always keep the Wednesday food news alive. So tell me, what's the wildest thing you've ever barbecued in the backseat of your car? Have you ever stolen an extra cookie at work and been subject to a 3-year trial? What fast food is going to keep you alive until you're 106 years old? And were you aware that I invented the pizza? Comment below with all your thoughts on this week's news, and please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Until next week, my name is Chris, and that's news to me.